picks. Other than that, it's just been Galio, which was banned out by Flashwolves last game, as well as Nautilus, and picking Nautilus into MMD didn't work out the first time round.
So I like the Syndra and Caitlyn, the Syndra and LeBlanc presence at a Supermassive. Take away some of the blind pickable mid laners for Maple. Now we have to ask the question, will Flashwolves still ban Galio? Because we know Supermassive, we're in a group that first picked Galio a lot of the time in playing stage 1. So that may be the priority, but if they do that, obviously they give over so much pace to the Flashwolves when it comes to their jungle. That's a ban against the Misfortune support, which indicates Flashwolves still want priority, whether it's the Zyra or the Malzahar that was likely to be available.
Supermassive seem like they don't want to first pick Zyra, so it forces a ban out of Supermassive.
Which is an interesting one, because we kind of feels like these two teams are locked in the meta where we had Misfortune, Zyra, Malzahar, and that was it. Now, of course, you can play Lulu, you can play Karma, you can play all of these other champions. So basically, if Supermassive don't pick the Malzahar here, when the Galio is still available, maybe we'll see Flashwolves end up taking it for themselves, but I like this adjustment. You say, okay, we know what you're trying to do, let's adjust things. You're likely not to pick the Galio, so we'll let you take Malzahar, we'll let you take the jungle, we'll take a solid bot laner, and then pick up the Galio maybe later.
Yep, Sakamo is picked up by Supermassive. Flashwolves look like they want to pick up Malzahar. Previously, this lane used to do really well for Malzahar when his Voidling spawned instantly. Now that it's on a 0.5 second spawn time, the Q from Karma still can hit Malzahar before he can react appropriately.
Not quite as deadly. We'll also see what Supermassive play around it, because they don't have the option for the Caitlyn. The Ashe would be available if the Lee Sin gets locked in here, which I think, again, would favor Supermassive. We know that Flashwolves like the Varus as well, but they take away the Ashe at this point. Again, look at this. Bot lane, level 6, fighting style out of Flashwolves. Happened in the last game, you pick a roaming mid laner, you pick a jungler that can get there. Suddenly, you've got a bot lane party.
And again, very high push potential coming out from Flashwolves bottom lane, which is very crucial in how they won their, or how they were so dominant in their domestic run in the LMS. Supermassive decided to pick up Graves as their jungle of choice with Varus, which is kind of expected from them, but that does leave Lee Sin open, which Flashwolves did not pick up in first rotation.
Right, they were trying to prioritize their bot lane. I think the Lee is likely to get locked in here, unless they want to take Talia for themselves. I think the Lee is a more beneficial pick here, because while Talia is likely to get banned out by Supermassive, they still have things like a Talon. They have things like the Aurelion Sol that can do a similar role for Maple from that mid lane.
And the LMS region was one of the first regions this split to really start to emphasize heavily on Talia. So we should see that banned out by Supermassive after Maple had such a good game with the champion. Tahm Kench is the ban here from the Flashwolves.
We had a Tahm Kench top player in Evi from the Rampage team in Phase 1. I wonder whether this is Flashwolves protecting themselves against a pivot of Karma to the mid lane. If they take it like a neutral lane and you say, okay, you take the Tahm Kench because there's Ashe, there's Malzahar, he does good into both. It could be either. Fabulous hasn't shown us the Tahm Kench in the play-in stage. So that's an interesting setup. But nevertheless, I can see the rationale between Flashwolves taking the Tahm Kench away.
Yeah, I mean, Malzahar, Ashe, two champions that get heavily countered by Tahm Kench outside of laning phase.
There goes the Galio as well, another champion that is all about protection, about getting a safe target with that damage reduction off the board. So now where's that leave us? Top lane, Nautilus might be the ban here, or Kled actually, if Supermassive are looking to pick up the Nautilus themselves.
It almost feels like they just ban out Kled. That will be Flashwolves picking up Nautilus, because MND has played a lot of games in the champion in the regular split.
He's also played a lot of Nautilus and Rumble alongside it. So both are options they can pick here and look at a mid lane matchup to counter pick, because you don't necessarily want to take an Aurelion Sol into every lane. It's not the safest blind pick. Supermassive would be able to counter that. And that leaves Supermassive in a rough situation. They probably have to go Syndra in this rotation and go Syndra Nautilus if they want to just take quote-unquote standard setups for themselves, not necessarily winning lanes, as Rumble can control that Nautilus in the top lane if that is where Supermassive go.
Which means if they pick up Nautilus here, Supermassive will again be sacking the top side of the map. The question will be, can MMD get another solo kill onto Fabulous and snowball that lane even further ahead?
That's always an interesting question. Okay, I like this in the sense that the Syndra would be the obvious choice for the lane solidarity, for picking a good blind pick that can deal with most things. But they want to be able to hang with the roaming potential and the side lane threat. That's why this cannon comes out as well. Now they want to try and bully out MMD on the side lane, have Ari roam around as well, try and create side lane pressure for themselves.
Cannon into Rumble, top side of the map. No longer the AP on AP matchup. We should see an AD Cannon coming out of Fabulous. It's a champion that was very commonly banned in the first 2 days of group stage, in the play-in stage. And Naru picking up Ari. No surprise there, one of his signature picks. Flash Wolves did not ban it out this game. And the response from Maple is to pick up Rise.
Yeah, now that Rise might be a surprise to quite a few people, but Maple has played a bunch of champions and a bunch of Rise. Now, what this does basically is eliminate some of the presence of Ari in the sense that you can lock her down, put a lot of damage out, and match the roaming potential. This also gives Flash Wolves a lot of repositioning power, and we've seen how good they are at making snap decisions, crossing lanes, getting into engages. Well, now you've got to fear that they're doing it with a Rise, and it rounds out their later game skirmishing as well. Like, Rise obviously scales very well into the late game, gives them a lot of power here up against a supermassive team that really heavily needs to get ahead. Kennen needs to get ahead and should do. Ari theoretically needs to snowball this game too, so Flash Wolves taking a bit of a step back from maybe that all-out aggression.
Yeah, Supermassive running the double teleport as well with Kennen and Ari, so we'll probably be looking towards the 1-3-1 with Graves, Varus, and Karma grouping up and just wave clearing wherever they can. Trying to take a new approach to take down the Flash Wolves.
Well, I like that they're trying things, looking for a little bit more of a different setup. I talked a lot about Syndra in picks and bans. Of course, she was banned away. That's why, of course, they didn't opt towards the Syndra. As it was the Ari coming for Naru, which is a bit of a quintessential pick for him. He can always play that champion. We've seen it all the way through since like 2013 when Naru was really breaking onto the scene in a European Challenger setup before Challenger Series ever even existed. So Supermassive trying to take it back with this 1-3-1 setup.
And in the last match, it was fairly even between Supermassive and the Flash Wolves until 15 minutes into the match. And the Flash Wolves pretty much didn't even know what hit them because 10 minutes later, the game was over. They were run over by a bus that just came out of nowhere. No stop sign at that intersection, unfortunately.
But we are on Wolves drive buses.
Ooh.
That's an interesting one. You've seen the memes with dogs driving cars. Yeah. I don't know about wolves driving buses.
Well, about to find out.
It's a bit more of a freight train, really.
Yeah, if the Flash Wolf can drive this train straight into Supermassive again, it's going to be difficult. And again, the home crowd cheering on the Flash Wolves. They want revenge after Supermassive knocked out the Red Cannons from the first stage of play-ins at MSI.
I think it's also that the crowd love watching Casa and Maple play. Because I think that's one of the things that makes them such an exciting team is they always seem to have that ignition switch. Like Casa and Maple are just like, okay, we're going to go aggressive. And then you see Betty, Sword Art, MMD just like putting a lot of damage themselves and just going along with the fight and winning them in such clean fashion. And that is what makes this team really exciting to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing whether Supermassive now, with this different setup on the game, can actually reaffirm control of a game, perhaps.
And the crowd at the CBLOL studio has been absolutely fantastic to listen to. Always getting behind the team and make sure they show their support for the players that are on the stage. And again, this entire series, mostly we're hearing shouts for the Flash Wolves. They are the favorites heading into this match as well. And we have got this game underway as Casa starts on the blue side of Summoner's Rift as Lee Sin, whereas Graves for Stone Mage has started on Raptor Camp.
Yeah, you can see there were 2 wards placed in the top side. Casa trying to maybe avoid any kind of invade coming through from Supermassive. But now that he's seen Fabulous in the top side, Ari in mid, they know that Stone Mage won't be in the top side jungle for now. I doubt it's going to be anything like going for a bot lane gank right now. They didn't have that flash down early like they did in the last lane, so I don't think it's anything overly tricky coming out of Casa, just looking to clear up through the top side.
MND doing a very good job in his lane, making sure that every time Fabulous steps up for an auto attack, he has his flame splitter on, so he at least trades evenly against the cannon. Slowly, Fabulous is expected to overtake that lane.
Slowly and then very quickly when he has control of the lane. As soon as Kennen is at the point where he can take those auto attack trades effectively against MMD, Kennen just kind of pushes out the lane and it's very difficult to stop him.
So curious to see how MMD's going to play this one. Casa now is going from blue to wall straight to red buff, so very quick level 3 for the Lee Sin. Stone Mage slightly ahead of him, just due to being Graves, has already been able to take down his Raptor camp and the double buffs, now working on the Wolf camp himself.
But there's no focus on ganks yet from Casa, of course, because you've got a Rumble that's pushing up in the top side. You've got a Rise who, yes, you can crowd control early, but against an Ahri, it's difficult to land a lot of that damage without having it traded back effectively early on. And you can see that Naru is setting up vision control on the bottom side now. Stormage and Casa run into each other, and that's going to mean both back away. There's going to be no early exchanges from either team yet. Zeitnot and Dumbledore are free to push up in the bottom side because they've seen where Casa is, and this is a much more even footing early on.
And that's what we expect from the Graves pick of Stormage. Gives him some breathing room against Casa's Lee Sin. He's actually trying to make his way towards top side of the map. Puts a ward down into the Trobrush to keep Fabulous safe. And maybe trying to do what he can to farm up against this cannon, but quite a bit of damage coming in from those empowered auto attacks.
And now we have to look at whether Casa does clock the fact that the only real reason Stormage would be topside is if he was warding. But look, Fabulous not quite respecting it. Casa just crossed through Tribush, and Fabulous is kind of teetering back and forth between pushing that last couple of minions and risking getting ganked or backing away, and he makes the right decision in the end of it. Realizes Casa is likely still around.
So early in the mid lane, just through the minimap, we saw the Maple was trying to head back to base, hit about 23 CS, which is just enough to pick up the T, I believe. Naru stopped his recall a couple of times, recalls himself, and teleports back into the lane, so trying to stay ahead of Maple at all times.
Yeah, and that's when Naru technically sacrifices experience for a moment to TP back into the lane and all get it on the second half. He gets a good recall, gets double Dorans plus the boots now, and is able to kind of take control of the lane once again. Utilizes that TP, but early on you wouldn't expect a mid laner to necessarily need that TP for an engage.
When we saw Stormage trying to be a little bit cheeky inside of Casa's jungle. The Gromp gets a little bit impatient with him and waddles back to his camp. That gives Casa some time to kick Stormage out of his own jungle. Bottom side of the map, Zeitnot and Dumbledore are still pushing in aggressively. About 10 CS up over Betty, but he should equalize it slightly with this wave that's crashed.
And that's a lot to do with the fact that this Karma, this Varus, a lot of poke damage, a lot of push power in that lane as well. Sword Art and Betty are biding their time to actually retake this lane. It's post level 6 as we were talking about. Like, Karma doesn't really have that massive level 6 spike that a lot of the supports, Malzahar, the Zyro we saw in the last game, it's going to be Betty and Sword Art going aggressive that turns that lane back in favor of the Flash Wolves. And you can see Naru now having to carefully play in the lane. They don't have vision on where Casa is, so just has to be aware of where they could be on the map.
Little does he know, Casa was waiting in the wings of that mid lane, but Naru has hit level 6, will be slightly safer with his triple dash available. Stormage is going to continue farming up the jungle, so is Casa. A big note to point out is top side of the map, MD was forced back by Fabulous while he had his lane pushing. So Fabulous sacrifices some experience and walks back to lane, whereas MD used his teleport. So a slight global advantage at the moment for Supermassive. This bottom side of the map, Zeitnot and Dumbledore still taking a lot of harass from this Ashe Malzahar lane. I'm
interested to see whether MMD buys towards the defensive setup into Kennen that we've seen a couple of rumbles where you end up getting an earlier Zhonya's Hourglass. Still opting towards the Haunting Guys first, as you typically do. It's interesting whether he does end up doing it, because I wonder whether they'll concede that just for teamfight presence, and MMD will just say, okay, well, I'm just going to go the normal route and put damage down in teamfights and basically just play to avoid the Kennen in the side lane, and we can win through teamfights alone.
Very similar story to game 1, where Supermassive Flash Balls very even. No kills this time round though, no first blood for Casa nice and early. So Supermassive must be feeling at least a little bit more comfortable. Stormage is trying to take blue buff away for his team. Naru's being called upon. Smite has to go down with Stormage.
So many Voidlings!
Not paying respect to the little critters there, Stormage, but does get the blue buff, gets out alive, doesn't burn any summoner spells for it.
Casa wasn't quite in range to be in that fight, so Stormage gets away with his life. I like this aggressive play here. You can see the Lee Sin has been focused on farming ahead in the creep store when it comes to monsters and on experience. Already level 6 is Casa. That is quite a quick spike now for Casa. If he can get into the mid lane maybe, that would be one option, but he's just content with taking camps away for now. He's waiting to see where the Graves is on the map.
Castle was spotted heading into this camp, but Supermassive not quite sure where he was. So he takes away a couple of small raptors, but Stormage picks up the rest. And we'll hit level 6 as well. Meanwhile, top side of the map, MMD is doing a fantastic job against Fabulous.
Yeah, he is still taking advantage of this Rumble strong laning phase, trying to deny as much CS as he can. You can see as Fabulous moves forward to try and hit it, Electro Harpoon comes out. And that's what's maintaining this advantage of about a wave and a half in favor of MMD. But I want to commend Supermassive for now for the early game jungle presence they've put out. One ward just died, but they've had a triangle of wards all the way through the bottom side of the Flash Wolves for quite some time, and it allows them to play around where Kasa is on the map. Kasa hasn't been playing aggressively because the opportunities haven't necessarily presented themselves so far.
Kasa now is going to be moving straight in towards Stone Mage's jungle, looking to take blue buff away for himself. Calling upon Rise, Fabulous might force him to try and smite this one, but Kasa looking to try and kick him back, gets stunned up, resets the blue buff, crucially.
Yeah,
This play from the Flash Wolves.
that was nice out of Fabulous. Just maintains at least a little time for that blue buff to reset. That was a nice response from Kasa. The fact that they had seen Storm Age on the bottom side of the map had been stood on a ward in Tribush for a while. So this does benefit Naru somewhat. Will allow Naru to maintain some of the push in mid lane. It's difficult to push in a Rise, but nevertheless, Ari can wave clear fairly effectively. I mean, as this game continues.
Maple didn't get his blue buff as well. That was
Yeah.
stolen by Stone Age. So his tier will be stacking slower. Kasa's losing out on experience.
But there's an arrow coming mid lane soon. Betty is level 6. I'm stuck in Europe. Casting Rock out apparently, but Betty has that opportunity. Dumbledore is the one.
Here's the target, locked down already by Sword Art. Gives a clean first blood kill for Maple.
Can't
Upside of that
complete
though,
it.
MND has been jumped on. There's a flash from Stomach trying to get on top of the Rumble. He has used his flash away. Fabulous throws out another Shuriken and returns the kill, but in the top lane this time.
Yeah, good response out of Supermassive. They were kind of anticipating the Flash Wolf engage somewhere from Betty and Sword Art. They get onto Dumbledore, get a beautifully chained set of crowd control, but I'm glad to see Storm Age heading to the top side, trying to get as much damage down as they can. They take down MMD, and now you get to see the strength of Graves. This tower is only just getting taken down by the Flash Wolves, whereas how far ahead are Supermassive? Maybe not quite as far as you would expect. MMD TP's in. This will go to the Flash Wolves eventually.
Yeah.
Look at tower first blood.
First blood, first turret picked up by Flash Wolves. Dumbledore just trying to charge in to stop it. Not enough. So the pick for the Flash Wolves benefits them significantly as Dumbledore's here just gets spotted out and locked down for ages.
That's one of the easiest setups that Sword Art might get from Harold. He wasn't forced to flash or anything, but look at the exchange. MMD manages to get it. The equalizer out, it doesn't do too much damage, doesn't do too much, but the reason they can't push, you could just catch a glimpse of it at the end of that exchange, was that MMD had already pushed out all of the minions in favor of Supermassive, so there wasn't a minion wave pushing up to the top tower. That delayed Storm Age and Fabulous getting up to the tower, and that's why Flash Wolves get tower first blood.
Yep. Now the question is, can Supermassive respond with a turret of their own while they're at this gold deficit? Because if not, we've got Flash Wolves will slowly once again start to bleed out Supermassive. And again, sitting nice and comfortable, just 1,000 gold behind, but 15 minutes in last game is where Flash Wolves kicked off their rampage. Could expect them to do the same thing as we're approaching 12 minutes into this match.
It looked like Kasa was about to kick off Storm Age at that point. That's the second Q that connects to him, but you're right, they took a moment and then said, okay, well now we know we can go aggressive. We've reached our item break points. Not necessarily the same for this game. Betty does have the Blade of the Ruined King completed. MMD still needs more time.
Oh, that's a flash forward though, onto Stormage. Arrow connects with the double doge as well. He gets locked down. It's a 2-for-1 special here for the Flash Wolves.
Yeah, Betty gets the buy one, get one free on that one. Shot the arrow out, tried to double doge, didn't matter, hit Storm Age anyway, as they managed to take down the kill. Well, Flash Wolves, we talked about it. They take this even game and then go, okay, we know we can get the exchanges, and Sword Art's second Malzahar ult ends up getting another kill now. The crowd control layering is just very effective out of the Flash Wolves. That's something, they don't seem to waste a moment. It was Storm Age first, Kasa goes in, easy pickup, then the arrow hits Dumbledoge to respond, and maybe a little fortunate, but at the same time, it's good arrow positioning. You know that Dumbledore only has one escape route at that point.
Just watching the Flash Wolf play, they really look like a cohesive unit. They don't look like they have a top laner, a jungler, a mid laner, an AD carry, and a support. They just look like the Flash Wolves. They look like a complete pack at the moment.
They do, and it scares Naru so much that he's built QSS as a first item.
He's only sitting on the last chapter.
Last chapter QSS is not where you want to be on Ari at all. Obviously, needs to get rid of the Malzahar ult, the Ash Arrow, the Rise lockdown. Maybe if you get kicked, you try and flash away. Well, QSS will save you from one of them. We'll see if the others connect there. That heavily hinders Naru's ability to output damage, which, when they're trying to run 1-3-1, is so detrimental. Out comes the Realm Warp.
Realm Warp.
One, doesn't even matter, it's short range. Sword Art's trying to catch up to him. No ultimate, but they're pinstering him.
Oh no, he's stuck between a rock and a hard place here as Casa wraps around Zeitnot. They even give the kill over towards Maple.
That's the impact of that tower being down, is as soon as Zeitnot is pushed far up, we talked about this in game one, Flash Wolves say, okay, we can capitalize on this one. There's nothing on the map that Supermassive can do. Let's go in with the Realm Warp, and suddenly they are in full control. 3 minutes after we talk about it being an even game, 4 kills to 1, Flash Wolves 3,000 gold up. And Fabulous can't even pressure out this top tower.
No, you can't. Rumble Equalizer lays down the pineapples and is able to clear out that minion wave nice and easy. Fabulous will try to do what he can to push this one in, but it just seems like the Flash Wolves at the moment have their number. Will eventually get this turret because MND did go back to base, but look at this bot lane.
The Flash Wolves are like, okay, we'll take the inner, we'll do that tower trade. That benefits us greatly. Zeitnot is under tower. Has to be careful because Ash Arrow and the Malzahar ult is up. So if he doesn't respect the gap closing from the Flash Wolves, that may very well lead to another death. Same in the mid lane. You have to respect the engage potential here because Naru doesn't have damage, does have his flash, but that's about it.
You see immediately Supermassive head back towards the safety of their jungle, right as the Flash Wolves back off from that turret. Top side of the map though. They're fighting, but nothing's going to happen between these two.
Top side of the map also littered with wards from Supermassive. Like, that is one benefit of the sense that, like, this is a team that over the last couple of minutes have been caught out and go, okay, we need to stop that. We need to put vision control down. And with top tower so low in favor of the Flash Wolves, that's a lot of the reason why these wards are up here. Just in case Flash Wolves are looking for the impact on top side of the map, but they went bot. They pushed that through instead.
And there's no 1-3-1 coming out of Supermassive. They're grouped up as 4, so it's a 1-4 team comp. Naru just feels like he doesn't have the damage to go toe-to-toe against Rumble or Rise at the moment.
That's all because of the way that MMD is at least able to contend and push the wave back under Fabulous, and Naru cannot contend with Maple. 3 kills, Rod of Ages, that's an arrow hitting.
Zeitnot gets silenced as well. Already Casa, kick, flash, double doge into the back line. Stomage trying to go toe-to-toe. Will get taken down by Sword Art. Zeitnot turns one back around with the Realm Warp, brings Maple into the team fight. Already 3 members of Supermassive have fallen. They only take down Casa.
Oh, it looked like maybe they were going to get Betty from that exchange, but Betty kites back effectively, didn't even use his QSS, knew that while that Nethergrasp was on, I believe it was on Stormage, he was just able to take him out, move back in the fight, and just kite around really effectively. Flash Wolves, this is, again, these team fights are so well coordinated in their favor.
And Flash will say, you want to play 1-3-1? Sure, we'll take the 3 members down any day. And here's that fight again, just straight away pulling the trigger as soon as the wall gets placed in.
Yeah, arrow comes out. Betty looks in danger, but Stormage locked down. Good protection there from Sword Art to keep everything in focus from Betty. And okay, Casa dies again, but we saw this in game 1. Trading Casa for 3 kills, Flash Wolves will always take that because Casa's impact is so significant already that him dying at the end of the fight doesn't really matter.
Ooh. Yeah, Casa was straight into the back line. As soon as that fight started, Maple single spell rotation gets narrowed down to just above half health. Sword Art trying to stop him going back to base, silences him. There are 3 dashes available for Naru, but Sword Art just being a pain in the bum there.
Yeah, being very annoying at that point. Just stopping the recall, stopping any chance for Naru to maybe look towards the mid lane and save that, as that's where the next rotation is likely to come around. MMD has teleport, as does Fabulous, but you have to look at it right now. Equalizer off the Leandri's Torment is going to be a little more effective than Wit's End, Bilgewater Cutlass, Cannon. Cannon needs more time to be able to output teamfight damage.
MND still going toe-to-toe against Fabulous. see the gold difference between the two teams. This time round, it's top Center that's doing well for Supermassive. Fab was about 1,000 gold up, but in the jungle, 600 ahead for Casa. Mid lane's a massive lead for Maple, as well as a small lead for Betty in the bottom lane.
And importantly, when you look at combat effectiveness right now, yes, he's 1,000 gold up, but it's all pretty much in his inventory. There's a 700 gold disparity of gold currently in waiting to buy items. So Fabulous, his lead isn't that much effective. Also, he's building towards side lane presence. This isn't the AD carry style Kennen that we have seen top laners play, where you go the Hurricane after the Blade of the Ruined King, and as Reckless would build the Frozen Mallet on top of it. So
here they go again, though.
Because now it's 3 versus 1 on the side lane.
Early flash from Fab still gets locked down by the Moby Boots from Sword Art. He tries to use the Slicing Maelstrom, but not even the Thunderstorm's enough to ruin Flash Wolf's day.
Watch this. If a fight starts mid lane, MMD's coming with a TP. As we're talking about it, Supermassive think they can capitalize, and in comes the rest of the fight. Equalizer is available.
So is the arrow from Betty. He decides not to pull the trigger just yet, but everyone collapses. They try to go to MMD, but look at the choke point. The Pineapples are raining down the pain on the Supermassive. They will be able to take down one member, but they lose 2 straight away. Flash Wolves just look unstoppable.
Realm Warp to the bottom lane, TP into mid. Flash Wolves, they're going under the tower.
What? They're diving 2 turrets deep. Maple's taking this one up. The Flash Wolf from Nara gets Casa. He might pay for this one with his life. Kicks away Zeitnot. Tries to follow up with the Sonic Wave. A teleport will come in from Fabulous. Gets silenced as soon as he gets into this lane. Flash was a little bit over-aggressive, but somehow still lived to tell the tale.
Well, Supermassive at least are able to deny a mid-tower push from that as well. That's fairly significant, as Flash Wolves would have been looking to advance their control on the game. Still heavily goes in favor of the LMS representatives, but I mean, Supermassive, it's a nice little response. They're able to delay, but it's not enough to reaffirm control on the game.
And now, 20 minutes into the match, Flash Wolves 5,000 gold up ahead of Supermassive.
With a 6-kill rise, that's terrifying at this point in the game.
8 stacks of his Rod of Age complete with Saracen Braves ticking. Here's that teleport from M&D and the flank that Flash Wolves are trying to look for.
So this is a dangerous play from Supermassive going into this choke against what is essentially a near-perfect equalizer. But Maple and Casa were a little slow to get to the exchange, and that allows Zeitnot and Naru to back away. Now comes the time where perhaps the Flash Wolves should rethink this, but they think they're so far ahead that they can go for it. And absolutely, if the execution is ever so slightly better in their favor, they can probably get another kill or 2 here. But Casa kicks, doesn't quite follow over the Q because he has to sidestep the damage from Ari. It may very well have been the cooldown as well. So couldn't do that combo where you kick into Q. Would have been enough to kill Zeitnot, but nevertheless, now there's another dragon going in their favor. You saw the stat line of how well they play with the lead. 29-1.
That's their biggest lead they've had. That's the number of times they lead at 20 minutes. And then no exceptions so far internationally. 2 games against Supermassive, leading at 20 minutes as well.
The difficulty is it's very hard to dissect a team like the Flash Wolves, because it's not like they play one style and only one style. So you can't really outdraft them in that respect. It's about anticipating the speed at which Flash Wolves will group on you and reacting to that before it actually happens. And that's where we've seen the teams take advantage of Flash Wolves, when we've seen them face teams like SKT. It's harder to make those snap decisions against a team that's that solidly together like SKT are. But for most teams, it's so difficult to be in the right spot at the right time 100% of the time.
Flash was taking this game a little slower than the last one, but still very commandingly ahead at the moment. Supermassive, they've built 3 Quicksilver stashes in this game already. They want nothing to do with the crowd control lockdown that Flash Wolves bring to the table.
But that now puts, like, if you imagine the gold leads, that basically is like an extra 3,600 gold that Supermassive have that is not in combat stats, which QSS is great deterrent, and it can save your life, but it doesn't benefit you that much overall when you look at, like, the power of fighting. All it means is Betty's going to fire an arrow, that's going to hit, you'll QSS out of it, and suddenly Sword Art jumps on you with Nether Grasp, and you're dead anyway at that point. So that's a lot of gold in protection right now that even accentuates this aggressive Flash Wolves. They can just keep fighting.
And it seems like Supermassive are trying to run their 1-3-1. Fabulous is in the bottom lane against MMD.
Here comes Realm Warp again, same thing.
Straight into the back lines. Maple is behind Fabulous. Is going to against MMD. Might get a kill first. Almost!
Whoa.
But the scrap shield saves his life. And Maple will run through the minion wave to pick up a kill for his team.
Again, it's the Realm Warp down into the bottom lane. Exact same play. This time, you can see Kennen has the advantage in the straight up 1 versus 1. But Fabulous couldn't really kill him fast enough before Maple arrived. But now Supermassive have the respect for Flash Wolves in the sense that the last time that happened, they tried to push up mid. Well, now they know they can't do it. They kind of sit back after pushing the wave only, take small advantages of vision control, but that is going to go back in favor of the Flash Wolves as soon as they're back out on the map. All MMD has to do, push this top wave out. In go Sorda, in go Casa, they take control of the Baron pit, and suddenly you're back in the same position.
Flash Wolves are dissecting this 1-3-1 team competition that's been drafted by Supermassive. MMD catching sideways from time to time. Maple ganking whichever lane he's in. Stonmage almost able to catch up Maple. I don't even think that would be a fight he'd want to try and take.
I was going to say, I don't know whether, sliding towards a 7-0 Rise at that point, who casually would just be able to 1v1 you down.
Because that's a 3 levels up over you.
That's maybe not exactly what you want at that point, because that would have started the Baron Flash Wolves, realistically.
He tried, though. He did try. I would have liked to see the fight. Unfortunately, we don't get it. But still 44,000 to 38,000 gold. Flash Wolves still leading commandingly, and Maple has got to flank on towards Fabulous. One spell rotation, he's at half health. Big shield coming up the rise. Fabulous just farming up the minion wave. Eventually falls to Maple. He is a monster!
That's not a fair fight at all. Fabulous didn't even use his QSS because he's like, okay, well,
he's got
nothing's getting me out of this. Yeah, 4 QSS already.
Oh, Dumbledore's got an old Magic Mantle. That'll be a QSS, won't it?
It could be. Could very well be. At which point, Flash Wolves, I mean, they're pinging the Baron already. Fabulous down for 24 seconds. Has TP, but I don't really think it matters because outside of a catastrophic mistake from the Flash Wolves here, Stormage is going to have a real tough time getting into this Baron.
Realm Warp already being used by Flash Wolves. Where's it going to take them to? Right behind Supermassive. Double Doge is going to be the first to fall in this fight. Stonmage going to be able to flash away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Naru trying to dash around. Exhaust being used. Good equalizer cutting off the retreat path. Sword Out will flash back to safety. Casa jumps on in with Betty to pick up a kill. And Maple deep into the backlines. Flashes with the flash to get another kill. And the Wolfpack tear apart Supermassive piece by piece.
I mean, the consolation prize is a tiny one in getting mid-tower from the back end of that fight, but Supermassive just not really prepared to take these fights. MMD is going to go defend the mid-tower push here. Maple is in behind them. Sonya's defends against Fabulous, slicing Maelstrom, and Flash Wolves are finishing the Baron, chasing down 2 members. Everything going in the way of the LMS representatives.
Maple, though, is trying to wrap around Fabulous and Zeitnot.
Oh, is there a blast cone there? No.
There's none! No summoner spells available for them either. Maple just waiting Louise. MMD's coming down as well. Supermassive stand and deliver, but can they stand and deliver against these two? Zeitnot will try to flash. He will lose his top laner first. Can't even take down MMD with him. And Maple just gives him another uppercut to pick up more kills for the Wolves.
They were trying to just get 1 kill out of that. Say, okay, just rush him down, kill him before the Maple arrives. And suddenly Rise shows up, the 2 versus 1 is complete. Realm Warp into the backline, right onto Dumbledore. No way of him getting out. Count the QSSs, there's one from Stormage already. He flashes out, but it doesn't save him, because in comes Stormage right now. In comes Sword Art, I should say. Gets onto Stormage, first kill. Naru flashes with the QSS as well, tries to save his life, but not really anything he can do. The lead is so much in favor of Flash Wolves. Flashed into
it! But Casa's right behind. Supermassive did not expect the surprise lead in from downtown. 2 kills already. They just don't stop the aggressions. Flash Wolves never stop.
It is impressive at the pace at which Flash Wolves get a lead and look to close the game. Baron already, 2 people dead, Inhib going down. They might just start one more fight and be done with this game.
No, Flash Wolves look like they want to try and end the game here. MMD is going to be backing off, trying to chase Stonmage away inside of his own jungle. The rest of the Wolves ushering in Baron buff minions. 3 seconds on Double Doge, but 15 seconds on Naru. Flash Wolves are trying to push for the win.
Maple is 7 levels ahead of Double Doge at this point in the game. There is no one that can trade against anybody from the Flash Wolves, and that's game 2 in the books.
Rumble's able to take down one. Maple's chasing down the Doge himself, gets another kill. Slicing Maelstrom's not going to do anything to the walls. As you can hear the crowd chant, Flash Wolves, as they charge on towards the Nexus. A double kill is picked up. They flash the icons to get us. The Nexus explodes. They're now at match point against Supermassive.
It may have started closer for the Flash Wolves, but that ends maybe more devastatingly than game 1. 12-0 on the game for Maple on this last pick rise. They just executed beautifully, catching out Fabulous on the side lanes, constantly fighting as soon as they're taking those early skirmishes past